inexcusable loss for USC. This was not a game that the Trojans should have lost. Were there things going against this team, like Kamari Ramsey getting food poisoning and being out, having a 9 a.m. local kickoff time, body clock time, losing your starting center, during the game? Yes, there's adversity happens, especially on the road. This is still the same team that got absolutely pummeled by Indiana the week before. This is not the top 10 Illinois team that we thought it was. We knew that this team would come back and play better. Brett Bielema is a tough guy. He's a tough coach. You knew they would want to try to control the football, limit possessions, a lot of the stuff that teams have been doing against USC. To me, this was, look, the beginning of the season, a lot of people felt you start 4-0 and it's going to be tough to go get a win on the road at Illinois. But then you start seeing the season layout, and a lot of the teams on USC's schedule that you felt were going to be bad or felt going to be really good haven't looked as good. I mean, for Notre Dame to start 0-2, they're playing better now for sure. But they started 0-2. Illinois, you lose by 50 to somebody like Indiana that a lot of people didn't think were going to be as good this year. There's some flaws on the team, and this is stuff that you're Lincoln Riley, you're Danton Lynn, you're one of the highest paid head coaches, you're one of the highest paid assistant coaches. You got to figure out a way to go and get a win. And this was a winnable game. And it wasn't even as close as the score was. The fact that USC was leading this game with 1 minute and 55 seconds left is insane. It was almost the reverse Maryland from last year. A whole bunch of stuff had to go USC's way, where last year against Maryland, a whole bunch of stuff had to go against USC. For USC to be able to score that touchdown, 2-point conversion, get the turnover, score again, and for all that to happen and take a 1-point lead at the end, with 1:55 left, a lot of stuff had to go USC's way. There was a lot of beneficial things that happened to USC. To me, there was too many self-inflicted wounds. And I think I don't want to hear the excuses. If you are one of the highest paid coaches and you're one of the highest paid defensive coordinators, you're going to be missing guys. Look at the Illinois roster and look at the USC roster. If you wanted to add up, we had the NIL calculator that was actually accurate. I'm going to guarantee you USC's players were getting about double what Illinois' players were getting. So you might be missing some guys, but you have a roster that's more star-studded. There's more high-profile dudes on it. You have to figure out a way with whatever you have to make it work. And USC not only did not play well, it was very sloppy to still have a whole bunch of penalties, to have the kind of turnovers, to not be able to get a stop, to not be able to get after the quarterback, knowing that Luke Altmaier was sacked as much as any Power 4 quarterback has been, and knowing that you're leading the nation in sacks. You can't figure out a way to make that work. So I'm putting, if you want to say, well, this guy was out or that, look, you don't need excuses. You got to go win games. All we heard about in the offseason was how much things were improved, how much things they fixed this, they fixed that. And I get it. And the discipline and all of that. And it's great to all wear the same tracksuit when you walk into the stadium, but you can't have 8, 9, 10 penalties a game. Connor's got the numbers. USC is one of the worst penalized teams in the country for penalties, number of penalties, and yards. You can't go on the road and do that. And I think this is one of those situations that if you know you're going to be at some sort of disadvantage, you know that you're going to have an earlier body clock kickoff time, and you got to go into this, and they had a plan. Lincoln Riley talked about it. They had a plan. First, they flew out on Thursday. The players flew out Thursday. For some reason, they were trying to keep it secret. I have no idea why that was. It seemed really dumb to me. But to me, that you're worrying about something stupid, like we don't want people to know when we're flying to the game. Like maybe there's a good reason for it. I can't think of one. But that just seemed like an unnecessary distraction. If you're telling people, don't do an Instagram of yourself on the plane because we're not telling people we're flying on Thursday. Like that just seemed kind of stupid, to be honest. I mean, just my honest opinion. I don't know why you're doing that. I haven't asked anyone at USC tell me why it is. If there's a good reason, I'll come back and say, hey, my apologies. There was a really good reason for that. I can't think of one. To me, it's just a stupid distraction. I don't think is the right thing. But you have to go in knowing that, okay, we wake up in the morning and Kamari Ramsey is not going to be able to play. It's one of those things that you might have a buffer because, you can mess around a little here, mess around a little there. You start having a few things go wrong, and then it's like you have to gather everyone around and be like, hey, every I needs to be dotted, every T needs to be crossed. That means you can't have those kind of stupid penalties. You can't have a penalty that negates a 75-yard touchdown. Yes, I get it. It's your backup center. But if you're going to run that trick play, and the most important thing is for the offensive lineman to not run downfield, he'd probably never practiced that because he's not on the first team. That's got to be your whole job, is to make sure look, just block your dude and don't run downfield. Everything else will take care of itself. To me, it just seems like they didn't come in here and everyone was on the same page. It seems like defensively, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that just isn't working. You can't always have extra, maybe you're used to being able to goof around a little bit and play here, play there. This was one of those things where a bunch of things haven't gone your way. You need to be as buttoned down as absolutely possible. And that's on the head coach, that's the coordinators, all the coaches. You got to make sure the players are like that. And they weren't. This was super sloppy. They were lucky to be as close as they were. And this was a game, to me, knowing you want to go out and be a ranked team on the road. You've struggled going out in multiple time zones. So to me, this was, you needed to have 100% focus. And I don't care how many dudes are out. You need to focus on and look good doing it. If you look good and you weren't sloppy, but you guys were just getting beat one-on-one and things like that, fine. But they didn't look buttoned down. And that's what they needed to be for this game. So I'm not using the excuses of this guy's out or that guy's out. You had plenty of good players. You got guys that are getting paid a crap ton of money. Figure out a way to get a win. This is, to me, an inexcusable win.
Inexcusable loss?
Loss,